Makeout contest.
Never before has a movie stooped so low
Mom?
Hi, sweetie.
to bring you something
Come on! It's our own special bus!
so special.
It's even shorter than I imagined! I can't feel my face. I felt that.
Get dumb.
Hey, we're not stupid, you know.
Are you sure?
Dumb and Dumberer.
Nothing they do makes any sense.
Now playing.
Welcome back to another episode of Front Row Cinema, a movie podcast for movie lovers by movie lovers. I am your host, Dumb, and with me, as always, my co-host, Dumber, Mr. James O'Reilly.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going. And each week we take a look at my 1,000 movies I've seen in theaters, and we see how well it's aged, along with the hype surrounding the film, its box office analysis, and legacy in the film industry. So if you enjoy this kind of content, hit that sub button on YouTube, leave that 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's how you help the channel grow. Jim, what are we watching tonight?
We're watching what might be the poster child for completely unnecessary sequels. Dumb and Dumberer.
Hey, put some respect. Where's that subtitle?
Oh, Dumb and Dumberer, When Harry Met Lloyd.
That's right. You put some respect on that honorific right there. Yeah, the 2003 comedy, directed by Troy Miller, written by a script
Because, when I was done watching Dumb and Dumber, the only thing I was thinking was, how did Harry meet Lloyd? I need to know.
There's so many questions I need answered. And much like the Joker, this movie's gonna give it to you. We're directed by Troy Miller here, written by a script by himself and Robert Brenner, and starring Derek Richardson and Eric Christian Olsen as the titular characters. Now we turn our attention over here to Jim. You're going to be very happy here. I do not own the DVD for this movie, so I, much like you, had to shell out some hard-earned dollars to watch this movie.
Haha, take that.
Yes, so I was much in the same boat as you, throwing down some hard shekels to watch this prequel classic. So we don't have blurbs, we don't have anything. We've just got a shitty log line. Yeah, we've just got a shitty log line here, and it reads, "It's a historic meeting of the mindless when Harry and Lloyd bump heads for the first time in high school. But when the school's principal and head lunch lady hatch a scheme to cheat the school out of 100 G's, it's up to the moronic duo to come to the rescue. Will Harry and Lloyd save the day or destroy it? Can Harry win the heart of the beautiful teen reporter? Will Lloyd make out with Harry's mom? To find out all the stupid answers, you'll have to watch the movie."
This is like perfect for what was the line that he always said? Sunny side up.
The Sunny
This is
Side Up
like
guy?
the perfect opportunity for him to take this and run with it. And we just like they didn't even try.
Yeah, either he was busy with bigger stuff, he wasn't stooping so low, or it's been a minute. Maybe our guy retired. I don't know. He just ran off into the sunset with his two great log lines.
Yeah, maybe they caught on to him. Maybe they're like, hey, wait a second. This guy says sunny side up in every single one of these he writes. What's going on here?
We noticed you're going to the Sunny Side Up well a lot here. What's going on with that? He's like,
Yeah, but no. Is it the worst line we've had so far? Will Harry make out with Lloyd's mom, or was it the other way? Will Lloyd make out with Harry's mom? God, just horrible.
Horrible. It's up there. Like they could have just ended at it's up to the moronic duo to save the day, but then they had to put in these other questions that no one was wondering or asking.
It's almost like the script for the guy who was reading that TV spot we played at the beginning. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like they forgot that wasn't supposed to be part of it, that was for him. They're like, oh shit, it's on the log line.
Yeah.
Just leave it. It's too late. Just send it in.
But yeah, so what did people think of this movie? I'm dying to know.
Not great. Well, first off, Jim, did you you didn't see this movie, right? This is a first time watch for you?
I've never seen this before, yeah.
Oh man, so this is a big moment for you. So you did not have the luxury of sitting in a theater, a packed out theater in 2003,
I bet.
jamming on the prequel that everyone had just desperately been waiting for since 1994.
Yeah, I
I
bet. I'm sure it did great.
I remember, I mean, obviously we'll get more to it in the box office, but from my memory of it, the show that I went to a Friday night show after school. It was packed out. I remember that theater being packed to the brim. And this was
Who
before reserved seating. So you were sheckling in a lot of people there. So that
right.
movie represented on a Friday night. But it reminds me of a movie that just recently came out, Joker Folie à Deux, where Friday night asses were in the seats. We were selling out shows. And then Saturday came along and just cobwebs rolling through the streets. Nobody was
Yeah.
showing up for the Saturday show. So I wonder if Dumb and Dumberer was very much the same. Like they fooled a bunch of people Friday night, but all those people just ran to the dirt sheets, and the Saturday night people were like, no, no, no.
Yeah, I mean, right. Word of mouth had to get out, but like very quickly on this movie, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely, because especially if you couldn't even convince the our age bracket, the 12, 13-year-old boys to enjoy this movie, you weren't getting anybody else. Because I remember from what I remembered of this movie, it was dog shit back then. It was one of the few movies that I saw back then that I was from the get-go was like, this movie is a piece of trash.
Who did you see it with?
So I saw it so only time I've ever went to the movies with a classmate of ours. I won't say his last name, but his name was John. I'll tell you his last name off air. We won't spoil him out here. But it was with a classmate of ours named John. It was the only time him and me ever went to the movies together. There's a very not safe for work story to
Oh boy.
us
Oh
going
boy.
to see that movie.
Jeez. Well,
I'm
oh
not
my
telling
God.
it. I'm not telling it. Don't worry.
I don't even want to hear it.
You've probably heard it already. We've known each other for how long? You probably heard from it like the day after it happened. I won't tell it here because it is very not safe for work.
I'm
But
so glad you brought this up.
suffice it to say, it was more memorable than the movie. And that's all I'll say about that. But yeah, that movie was a piece of trash. And
Dumb
that's
and Dumberer.
yeah, Dumb and Dumberer. But I mean, what did you expect going to see a movie called Dumb and Dumberer? You really had to know what you were lining up for, and the people also knew what they were lining up for because the box office really reflects that inclination. So let's cue it up, Jim. Let's dive into some numbers.
Numbers, dates, and numbers, dates, array, dates, numbers. Show me the money.
Don't know if there's much money to show you, Brad.
So Dumb and Dumberer.
Hey, where's that honorific?
Weekend of June 13th to June 15th of 2003. It opens against a $19 million budget, which
I mean,
doesn't
silver
seem
linings.
that high, but also it's just like I'm trying to think where the hell did $19 million go in this movie?
Just fell off the back of the truck.
Yeah. It opens in 6th place.
Not very good. Not very good.
It opens in 6th place with 11.1 million.
My God. The sad thing is you would hope that would be like a career worst for us here on the list, but it's not. 11 million, definitely in the top 5, but it's settling in the number 43 spot, right behind Black Knights, 11.2, but just ahead of Kung Pao Enter the Fists, 7 million.
Great company.
I can't think of a more deserving movie for it to be aligned with than Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yeah, so there's a couple of movies here that we've talked about already in the top 5. Bruce Almighty and Finding Nemo are still hanging around. There's a couple of openings this week that I think at least one of is going to end up being pretty notable to us.
Okay.
In 4th place, opening that week, Rugrats Go Wild with 11.5 million. And then in 5th place, I know I told you I locked this in already, but I'm changing my mind.
Oh no.
Mine changed on what my upcoming pick will be.
Oh man.
Opening in 5th place with $11.1 million, Hollywood Homicide.
a true classic of cinema right there.
Harrison Ford, Josh Hartnett banger of a movie.
Dude, 2003 has been such a wild ride of cinema.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my pick. The other movie that I had told you was a lock, but I am now waffling on potentially, comes in second place. Too Fast, Too Furious. So I'm not going to say much more than that about those two movies, other than to say that we'll talk more about
We'll be
them.
broaching one of those in a few
Right, one of
episodes.
those will come up at a later date.
Oh boy.
It's definitely down to those two. So yeah, not a great opening, right? Going into
No,
week
that's horrible.
two.
If you
Um,
can't even make your budget back off of 19 million in the opening weekend, like you're dead. You're DOA.
dude, there is so many potentials here. I'm not gonna say numbers about a lot of these.
Well,
But
we'll also
opening this
probably be
weekend,
broaching a lot of these movies.
yeah. So wait, did you see? I don't know if you must have seen this, right? Is this one of our upcoming episodes?
I
Hulk?
guess. I don't. No, no, no,
No. All
no.
right. So in that case, there's another hat thrown into the ring
Oh no!
for the
Damn it!
for the pick. Because that's another one. Like, how do you not watch Hulk, man?
Yeah, how do you
That's
not
such a
watch Ang Lee's
classic.
Hulk?
Um, but Dumb and Dumber, I'm struggling to find it here. Give me a second.
Oh my God! Are we
It's
gonna get a
down
one?
here
Are we gonna get a 1 week boy?
almost ninth place with 4.3 million. It's a 61.3% drop, which against an $11 million opening, pretty
Horrible.
impressive.
That's
Like,
that's a. I tip my hat to you, sir, because that's atrocious.
yeah, like usually when we see movies start slow like that, they have like 20, like 30, maybe 40% drops for a few weeks. This one, 61 right off the bat. And then finally in its third week, it's down in 13th place with 1.6 million.
So a quick time spent in the top 10 for this movie. It's joining way down in the bottom with some other notable movies. Again, Kung Pao Enter the Fist. We got Eight Crazy Nights. And the only movie that deserves better than this is Super Troopers, also at 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, the budget too makes a big difference, right? Like Super Troopers 2 weeks in the top 10 was like a huge success, I think.
Yeah, whereas the rest of these movies is a classic example of maybe we shouldn't have.
They weren't dreaming of just beating out Kung Pao Enter the Fist when they greenlit the Dumb and Dumber sequel. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
uh,
Do I even want to hear some totals? I can't even imagine
I
how.
mean, I guess now that we're here, we may as well go too far. Uh, Domestic total 26.3 million. International, just like a shade under 13 million for a worldwide total of 39.3 million.
Boy, oh boy. 39.3 gonna put us in the 43 position. Again, right behind Black Knight, which made 39.9, and just ahead of Head of State, which made 38.6. Yeah,
And
that's
then
definitely good enough to
just
be
because
the
I'm
bottom of the thing.
curious,
Yeah.
just because I'm curious, let's see what the first movie's total was.
I think the first movie did like somewhere in between 2 to 300 million, if I'm not mistaken.
I would imagine it was a much bigger success. Yeah, let's see.
Well, I
Box
mean
office.
that movie like that's part of the year that catapulted Jim Carrey. So that movie had to have done.
Yeah, bro, this is a nice little throwback. Guess what its international total was for the original Dumb and Dumber?
Um, Good or bad?
I mean, it's not good or bad. It just says a lot about the international movie market back in the 90s.
Oh my God, I don't know, like 50 million. Is that too gracious?
$294.
No way, seriously.
That's what Box Office Mojo has for the international total. Yeah, because I mean, like, I don't know, like they probably just didn't release this anywhere outside the US, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean that definitely feels like a movie. Like, how do you even market that to other countries, right?
let's see. I can click on it. I can tell you.
Yeah, who got it? Where the $294 come from?
So if it's actually listed as an opening of $308 in Australia. That's the only other place it was shown.
There we go. Do you think those
And then
people
the gross
all
number is
yeah.
294. So I don't know, maybe like somebody got like a return on their ticket. I'm not really sure
That's what I'm
how
saying.
that
It might have been
works.
a few Australians that after Jim Carrey mistook Australia for Austria, they just walked out. They're like, I've never watched this piece of shit.
Yeah.
They're like, how dare he fuck that up?
Yeah, but so the original Dumb and Dumber finished with 127 million. Obviously, most of that was domestic.
And just a bit from Australia. Good for you, Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
yeah, that sounds
now
about
you're
right.
talking, right? That movie was a hit.
And it's a shame that, like, you would think that this prequel would be enough to just DOA this franchise, but somehow they got another shitty sequel,
Yeah,
however many
because
years down the line.
people never learn their lesson, man. They always think they want another one, but they really don't. Like,
You really don't. I don't want to see middle-aged Lloyd and Harry on another whirlwind adventure. I don't need it.
yeah.
I
Well, but
don't
like
need
Dumb and
it.
Dumber, the original's the kind of movie where it's really stupid, which if you make a really stupid movie like incredibly funny, you've caught lightning in a bottle and you should just walk away. You know what I mean? Like
Just walk
you're
away.
walking such a fine line making movies like that. Like
You are.
it's you're always on the verge of me thinking it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen and I never want to watch it ever again, you know?
Well, they sure put themselves up to task for this one because Jim, everybody agreed for that for this
Yeah,
movie.
I
So,
bet.
so this movie might be some of the lowest numbers we've seen reception wise on any movie we've done so far. 10% rotten from the critics, 23 from the audience. So that
Wow.
everyone's in agreement. Pretty big piece of shit on our hands. Three
Still way better audience score than the critics score then.
Yeah, 23 audience is still out of control. The fact that there's still enough people out there that were like, hey, you just don't understand really good cinema. This is still solid. A 3.4 from IMDb and a lovely C cinema score.
Dang, that's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know
just
what a cinema score means, but I know that a C is not a good one.
absolutely out of control. And now one of the things that I just had to do after seeing this insane reception was, can I find people that thought this was one of the greatest movies they've ever seen? Like who
Oh,
I needed. So one of the things I did, they had a 3.4 in IMDb. In IMDb, you can see the user reviews. And I
right,
immediately clicked on who gave this movie a 10 out of 10. And there was
right.
way more people than there ever should have been.
How many?
I did. Oh fuck! I didn't see how many there were, but there was enough that I had to scroll through reviews, which is
That's plenty. Yeah, that's a
already
lot.
too yeah already too many. And I took out a couple of gems here, because I need to meet some of these people and just see what their like top four is. It blows my mind. So someone here gives this movie 10 out of 10. Writes, give credit where credit is due. I think those that give this movie such horrible ratings have no sense of true artistry.
No way.
So
Is that the end of it?
he goes on more, but at that point you're
Okay.
out. Like
That
there's
guy,
no salvaging whatever that guy's thinking.
that's got to be a troll, right? There's no way.
I don't do. It's gotta be. I can only hope that that's a troll.
Yeah, like how many paragraphs is their comment?
Two. It's two paragraphs.
Okay, that's
So
I mean that's are they like meaty paragraphs? Because that's a
no,
lot.
no,
That
no.
feels like a troll.
He wrote that, and then on the next paragraph was, the acting is stellar. They did a stand-up performance. They deserve to have recognition for such a display. And it's like, dude, stop.
Oh my
Like,
god. I'm not
please,
sure that it is a troll.
please
Like it's
stop.
not it's definitely dramatic, but it's not like as obviously fake as a troll would feel, I feel like, you know?
Yeah. Uh, this next one, also amazing. I Another 10 out of 10. Calls it one funny ass movie. He writes, I have never laughed so hard in my life. I couldn't stop kicking the chair in front of me, much to the chagrin of the guy sitting in it.
All right, this has got to be a troll. That guy's just fucking around. There's no way that's real.
Still, it's still amazing. That one cracked me up. And then I got one final one here for this guy. So he goes, when Harry Met Lloyd has to be one of the funniest movies ever made. From the beginning to the credits, this movie has nothing but gross, outrageous humor. Eric Christian Olsen plays the part better than Jim Carrey. For those who liked this one but have still yet to see the original, don't, because it sucks. This one is way more original, funny, and actually has a point. If you like movies like Kung Pao Enter the Fist, you'll love this.
Yeah, there you go. Now that's a troll. That's 100% a troll. Like when he gets to like rage baiting you about the original Dumb and Dumber, that's like so that's chef's kiss, dude. That was well done. I
Just
think
glorious.
I have an idea here.
Yes.
I think maybe we try and play a game where when you pick out a couple of reviews every week and we try and guess if we think they're trolls, like teenagers or chuds.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty good.
Or like and like there's definitely some crossover in those categories, right? So like maybe it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I don't know.
It's a little bit of both. Yeah, dude, it's so funny. Just
potentially, because that's all I can think about reading these is like, is this person fucking with me? Are they fucking with me? Like, there's no way, right?
like they gotta be. Like no one can watch this movie and actually believe the things that they just wrote in those paragraphs.
I mean, I like they could, but it's like it's. Do I think that this person writing this actually is? You know?
And it's the answer to that, a resounding no.
The guy who started talking about the original Dumb and Dumber was definitely fucking with me.
Oh, absolutely. That guy, hard troll right there.
Yes.
Played the part better than Jim Carrey. It's like,
Yeah,
all right, guy,
in
all
that
right.
original movie that was stupid, by the way. Like,
Yeah. He's like, some would call that movie dumb.
that was really good.
Yeah, just some classics that you find in the IMDb literature right there. Some immaculate user reviews right there.
Yeah.
So now let's add our own stamp on these user reviews, Jim. Let me hear some thoughts. What did you think for a first time watch of Dumb and Dumberer when Harry Met Lloyd?
So it was kind of like Valentine's Day in terms
Oh,
of experience, where like
Here he
in
goes.
the beginning I was like mad. I was like, why am I watching this? This is so stupid. I hate every second of this, right? And then like the more the movie went on, the more I kind of just was like I just embraced what it was. You know what I mean? Like I was watching it and I like it really started to kind of crack me up after a while.
You just
So
succumb to the pain.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's partially my expectations were so low going into it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, it was really bad. Like, if you tried to like follow it like a movie, it was just unwatchable. You know what I mean? But if you just like turn that part of your brain off and you just watch it, it's not so bad. It's actually kind of funny. And the guy who plays Lloyd, also better than Jim Carrey. No. he was pretty good though. Like he wasn't better than Jim Carrey, and like I kind of hated looking at him. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but like I kind of just like hated his like just looking at him was like a chore, and it's weird because I know that guy from other movies, and he's not all like that hard to look at. Like I've never hated
looking
him
dude.
before.
Yeah, they did a good job like uglying him up for this movie because he's a good looking dude.
Yeah, like to the point I didn't even know I had heard of this movie and seen trailers for it and stuff. And I had seen him in other movies, but I didn't even know it was him that played Lloyd in this movie. You know what I mean? Because he looks way different.
He's definitely one of the. If I was to give an olive branch to this movie, he would be one of the things I'd give an olive branch to because he does do a good job of being Jim Carrey. for
Yeah,
this movie.
Eric Christian Olsen is his name, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Thank you.
All right, well, we didn't say it, so I figured we should bring it up.
But yeah, he does a good job of playing Jim Carrey playing Lloyd. So I would give him the olive branch. Other than that, though, I wouldn't give an olive branch to anything. I hated this movie so much. It was fucking.
Really bad.
It was torture to get through. And
What about Eugene Levy and Sherry O'Terry?
one of the things that makes this so upsetting that it's so bad is that it has funny people in it. Like you got
Yeah.
Eugene Levy, you got Sherry O'Terry, you got Bob Saget, like capable comedians.
Yeah.
And this
how
movie,
about Shia LaBeouf tossed in there too, by the way.
yeah, dude, right off the Holes, man. Do you think he was worried that he did Holes? He got a big thing, and then this was coming out. He was like, "Fuck, man, it's gonna torpedo me."
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to. It's like it's interesting. That was one of the more interesting parts of going back to watch this for me. Was like trying to remember what Shia LaBeouf's brand was in 2003. You know what I mean? Because he takes such a hard left turn after that. So like I don't know, it's weird. Like it seemed odd that he was in this, but then it's also like he's just playing the doofy kid who dresses in a mascot outfit the whole time, which is like kind of what he did in 2003. You know?
Yeah, that was when he was still getting his start, and he's taken so many left turns that you can't even remember the first left turn he took.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
But we still
cast,
love you, Shia. Yeah, no, this movie it's insane that it even exists. I would showing this movie to anybody today. Like we've talked a bunch about movies that have jokes and themes that do not age well. This entire movie's premise is out of control. Out of control.
They're trying to, mean, it is pretty out of control. Where they're what is it? They get like $100,000. Was that the total?
Yeah. The plan was to milk 100K out of a special needs group so that they could run away to Hawaii and buy a condo.
A condo, by the way, which is just like so perfect.
It's pure lunacy. And all the times in this movie that I did find myself somewhat chuckling is one of those ones where I couldn't tell if I was just chuckling because I had been beaten into submission by this movie.
Oh, yeah,
or that they were actually funny moments. Because like
yeah, I mean it has I felt like I can't think of any off the top of my head, but it definitely had a bunch of good one-liners.
I mean the biggest one that comes to my mind is Bob Saget losing his mind over what he assumes is shit all over his bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, which again, not my favorite part of sequels, by the way. Is like they always feel like they gotta play the hits.
Yeah, is that we got to do everything over and over and over again. Like some of them I don't mind, like the dialogue. Usually I hate when you bring back lines from other movies in the sequels or prequels, but in this one it kind of makes sense because it's just like that's just the way Lloyd talks. Like it would make sense that as a kid he'd still say I like it a lot. But like them doing the shit gag again, the bringing the Slurpee gag back, and they do the dumb one where it was just you got to drink it really fast, and they do the stupid brain freeze thing. It's like
the brain freeze animation, by the way, probably took up a lot of that $19 million budget.
Yeah, right. That was probably the whole budget. They saw an episode of Jimmy Neutron and they were like, we should do that, but in Dumb and Dumberer. So all those like gags, it was very tiring very quickly. And for whatever reason, I don't know. Like I feel, and I don't know if this is a case that it's like we have somebody else writing it and they don't understand the characters, or even giving someone an olive branch to think that you need to understand these characters to write it well. But they completely miss what made them so lovable in the first one. Because like they are dumb in the first movie, but they're still somewhat like goofy and lovable. In this one, and especially the sequel that comes out much later, they're just fucking annoyingly stupid. Like, and there's no joy out of them being stupid in these later ones.
Like, I think it definitely is missing all the charm of it in this one for sure, right? Like it's missing all the charm of the first one, and it's weird because like I would say that they're less dumb in the first one. Like they're still dumb for sure. They're definitely not bright. But like there's still like they're not like completely like out of control, I guess. Like
yeah, they're not like complete imbeciles. Like there's like there's
Like
moments.
they can carry a conversation with somebody in the first one. You know what I mean? In this
Yeah.
one, like I feel like that's almost impossible for them.
Yeah, like in this one, they don't understand a single thing that anybody says to them at any point.
Yeah. But
Where
like I
it's
don't know if I can quite put my finger on it, but it's just like it's totally it's you're right. It's way more annoying. It doesn't come across as charming at all. Whereas in the first one, like I kind of like them at the end of the day, you know?
like they're fun to watch in the first one because the stuff that they're doing is funny and humorous, and it's more just them in their adventures that's more and how they react to the adventure that's humorous. Where in this one, it's more just like them just being completely like I don't buy that they like yeah they're dumb, but in what world would they really think that Shia LaBeouf was half centaur, half person?
Right, exactly.
Like
Exactly.
like
That's a really
that's
good
yeah
example.
that's they should be committed. like
Right.
like you're telling me that kid you decided that kid shouldn't be homeschooled anymore? Like no, I like
Yeah, what did you do to that kid?
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So like it's so they made them so much dumber and annoyingly so that you can't even enjoy them as characters in this movie. It's so
Yeah.
it's just gratingly annoying to watch.
Everybody else from the special needs class they get together also pretty unwatchable.
Yeah.
Like
So
just
all,
like none of it is like funny or like has any kind of like good moments. You know what I mean? None of it's worth it.
it's all just like stupid and then one really really racist moment.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, yeah. Like the
There's
guy,
another thing, like they weren't like they were dumb, but they weren't racist in the first movie. When he sees the foreign exchange student and just starts going like ching chong cha chong chin, it's like, dude,
yeah,
come on.
horrendous, yeah. And like maybe that's part of it too, is like in this one they go for like the low-hanging fruit a lot more often. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it's not quite as clever as the first one was.
yeah, it's awful. But then again, I don't know what it says about me because I'm not gonna lie, I did laugh at the part where the cop has to pretend to be the special needs guy when they're trying to get Eugene Levy to take the check. And he's like, "Is that the check?" He's like, "Is that is you drew all that for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I drew it for you." And it's just like a picture of like a plane and like a sun.
Yeah. Yeah, well that's funnier because you're not actually like poking fun at like a person with special needs. You're poking fun at a guy acting like, you know what I mean? Like the guy thinking that that's what they would do is the joke. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
the joke, not the special needs person. You know?
yeah. So that what so I'm not gonna lie, like with that like some of the things he did say what did get me where they were just like, "Oh yeah," and the guy would like out of nowhere he would just be like, "I can count all the way up to 12." And
Yeah.
Eugene's like bushy eyebrows just like
Yeah.
extend.
Eugene Levy is great in this, by the way.
Yeah, but he's
I
great
like
in
him in
anything.
everything.
Like, yeah, he's good in everything. It's just it's such a shame that they saddled him, O'Terry, and Saget in this movie to try and give it a little bit of street cred.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Sherry O'Terry's quite street cred material the same way Bob Saget is, but yeah.
Yeah, but she's a gifted comedian. She's
She's
always funny
funny.
in what she
She
turns
was
up in.
yeah. She was
Yeah,
in a lot of like these like kind of like quasi hit comedies back then.
yeah. So she was a good go-to for something like this. But yeah, I hated this movie.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I just like I kind of laughed a couple of times throughout. I like anytime they met with the reporter was brutal. Every single one of those scenes, I was like, God, please just get this over with immediately. Like,
They're so dumb. And they yeah, and it's just another one where they just make them so stupid when they interact with her. It's like God, these are not real human beings at this point. Like
yeah, exactly, exactly. In the first one, they feel like kind of just like dumb assholes. In this one, they feel like caricatures of that for
yeah,
sure.
exactly. Like they're just they made them absolutely stupid in this one, and I hated every second of it. Pure torture, definitely up there as one of the worst things we've had to watch thus far.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Agreed. And
and
I don't mean I really have a lot much more to say about it.
yeah, neither do I. It's just one big pile of crap, and I hope it
I
was
mean, it
awarded.
was
I hope it was awarded accordingly.
yeah. Well, all right. So yeah, let's get to the awards, right? Um,
And yes,
it's
people, this movie won some awards.
so I'm starting to wonder here, buddy, if the
Yes.
Teen Choice Awards isn't some kind of marketing machine.
Oh no.
because
Oh no.
because it's nominated for one Teen Choice Award, the
Oh dear
Teen
God.
Choice Award for movie chemistry,
Fuck off.
with Harry and Lloyd, Eric
Yeah,
Christian Olsen, and Derek Richardson.
they better not have won.
They did not. They were a nominee, and we've talked about the 2003 Teen Choice Awards. I don't remember who won, but I'm not looking it up
I'm not going down
again.
that well again. As long
We're
as they
gonna
didn't win,
go.
we're happy.
Yeah, we're gonna go straight to the Razzies.
Oh yeah. For those of you not in
This-
the know, the Razzies are for the biggest pieces of turds to come out in any given year.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's heard of the Razzies. Um, to put the Teen Choice Award even further into question, it is nominated for the Razzie for Worst Screen Couple, which
Oh,
feels a lot more, I don't know, right? Like,
I wonder if the Razzies were after the MTV Movie Awards and they saw that and they were like, "What were these fuckers smoking?"
yeah, so hold
They were
on,
like, "Worst chemistry."
let me see if I can find who they went against. Okay, so Worst Screen Couple. We've we've found ourselves at this crossroads again, my friend. Uh Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez for Gigli.
Oh, right.
They were
Geely.
they were the
Giggly.
ultimate winners.
Of course they were.
The couple from oh wait, this is an interesting one.
Okay.
They
What do you got?
nominated Ashton Kutcher, Brittany Murphy, and Tara Reid as one nominee for two different movies. Like
Oh, what?
Ashton Kutcher is getting like the year achievement award for bad movie couples by getting this nomination because he's nominated for Just Married and My Boss's Daughter.
I was just gonna say, I was like, what movie was he in with Tara Reid? I'd totally forgotten about that piece of crap.
Yeah, yeah, My Boss's Daughter. I never even heard
They
of it.
gave him
And
a
then
twofer. That's amazing.
I'm gonna leave out the fifth movie because I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk about it at one point.
Oh boy.
But there's a fourth movie here. Do you remember From Justin to Kelly?
Oh yeah.
They made that like musical from the
Yep.
winner and the runner up of American
Of
Idol. What
American
a
Idol.
crazy idea.
What? How far? Look at how far we've come, man. Remember that American Idol, just a lowly, successful show that spawned a movie, and
Dude,
however many seasons.
I was so into American Idol for the first two seasons. Like legitimately, that show was like I was like really mad when Ruben Studdard won. I was like, I don't know. I just was rooting for Clay Aiken. I don't know that little like.
Oh my god. We used to be a society, Jim.
Yeah. So, but hold on, it's nominated for a couple of other Razzies here that I want to get through.
Oh boy.
It's nominated for the 2004 Worst Remake or Sequel.
Yeah, I could take that one to the bank. What else was
I am
nominated?
gonna,
Oh,
I
did
am
it
gonna
win?
put. No, it did not win.
Interesting. There was a bigger
I
piece
am
of
gonna
crap
ask
sequel.
you a couple here. I mean, I don't know what From Justin to Kelly is a remake of.
Yeah, right? Why is that in
Oh
there?
wait, hold on. Remake of Where the Boys Are 1960 and Where the Boys Are 1984.
Oh
So
my
did they
god.
just
So they
adapt
just
a musical movie and
yeah.
just put Justin and Kelly in it? That was what they did?
Wow. What a baller move.
I didn't know that until right now that they did that. That's
That's
crazy.
that's hilarious.
Uh, so like, all right, did you see the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah, we did, Jim.
Was it that bad that it belongs in with From Justin to Kelly?
Did it win?
No, it wasn't the
Which was
winner.
nominated?
The winner, I think, is going to be a good competition here. I think Dumb and Dumber is beating out all these things so far.
Yeah, I remember. I don't remember the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that much, but I don't remember hating it. I think it was just
Yeah.
fine.
Too Fast, Too Furious is also nominated,
Those bastards.
which is crazy. And then this is like I think this is a kind of a toss-up here. What do you think is a worse remake or sequel? Dumb and Dumberer, When Harry Met Lloyd, or Charlie's Angels Full Throttle?
Absolutely Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, dude, I don't know. Charlie's Angels Full Throttle is bad, man.
Coincidentally, they both star Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf also in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. Good point. I may have to rewatch that, but that movie stinks
Yeah.
on ice, if I remember
It
correctly.
does. It also stinks on ice. Yeah, but I think if you put a gun to my head, I'd rather watch that than Dumb and Dumberer because at least if I'm watching Charlie's Angels, I get to watch Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, and Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, but still, it's the worst.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's
the
not good.
worst.
I agree with you.
They do
It
those
is the
like dirt
worst.
bike jumps in the one scene, and like Bernie Mac's doing his best to save the day, but he just like
Yeah.
he's not in it enough. Like I don't know.
Dude, he doesn't even have a last name. His name's just McG.
Yeah, yes, dude. McG. We got to talk about McG one of these days. I'm sure we'll bump into one of his. Movies.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll bump into a McG movie somewhere down the line.
McG, which like just man, like if 2003 was a person, it feels like it would be McG. You know what I mean?
Especially for the way some of these summer movies have been dropping so far.
Yeah, I was rewatching like the first couple seasons of Supernatural recently, and like man, McGee's all over that thing. Like it's just
Make
so
sure to
funny.
get his fingerprints all over the place.
Yeah, and then finally here, the last Razzie that the Dumb and Dumber is nominated for worst screenplay.
Yep.
We've talked about all these already, so it goes on to lose to Gigli.
Really. Gigli.
Yeah, so that's the Razzies. It got a Teen Choice Award in there, which again, I'm starting to really wonder if that's not
Yeah.
just some sort of teen marketing campaign. I don't know.
Gonna have to die. If only there was some podcast that deep dove into each year.
And then it it won the Golden Schmoes Worst Movie of the Year.
The Golden Schmoes, baby.
Couple of other ones in here. It was also nominated for Worst Picture at the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards.
And all of these sound very much deserved.
Yeah, and so it got nominated for Worst Picture and also nominated for Most Painfully Unfunny Comedy at the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards.
Like to buy those guys a drink.
Yeah, they really
They
got
hit
those
they,
category
yeah,
names down right.
they hit the nail on the head there.
Um, and then let me go. I think we're going to talk about somebody here. I'm going to try my best to keep this short, right? But this guy
Okay.
was like pretty interesting to me. The guy who directed this, Troy Miller,
Okay.
he does like a bunch of stand-up stuff, which I'm going to avoid as best I can because it's a lot. He's a writer on dude, this guy, he's like an MTV TV guy, I'm pretty sure, is like where he really lands in his
Okay.
career. He
Now,
wrote
does
Dumb
he
and
do the
Dumberer.
stand up or did he just write
No,
stand up
he like
jokes
produced
for?
and directed like other people's stand-up specials.
Got
He
it.
doesn't have
Okay.
any writing stand-up credits. It's all like behind the scenes stuff for that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so there's like a lot going on here in terms of TV. The 20 teens who will change the world in 2001, like a lot of dumb shit like that, right? He writes Dumb and Dumberer in 2003. He gets like he's basically writing listicles for like Entertainment Weekly, like the 20 weekly best holiday movies or something like that, right?
Jesus
And then
Christ.
in 2003 to 2005, he gets writing credits on 37 episodes of Viva La Bam.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Is that not the most perfect thing you've ever heard? Of course the guy who wrote
Yeah.
near 40 episodes of Viva La Bam directed this movie.
That's it's all starting to come together.
Yeah, right. And then yeah, he has like so many directing and producing credits, but I'm just gonna try and stick to his movies, which are gonna be tough to find because he literally has 136 directing credits.
Jesus.
And I think like maybe like 3 of them are movies.
Yeah,
All
or
right,
like
so
AAA movies.
he actually does a lot of interesting work though on TV too. Like he's not like a total like hack.
Okay.
He is a director on. All right, so let's start with the movies. let's because these first two are pretty good, right? Do you take Dumb and Dumberer or 1998's Jack Frost?
Oh wow, so he's actually made a good movie.
Yeah, the one that's the one with Michael Keaton, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I really hope it's not the horror one. It's not.
Yeah,
It's the good one. Yeah, it's the one with Michael
I
Keaton.
thought it
Yeah,
was maybe the horror one when I first saw it, and then I'm like, no, wait, 98's Keaton for sure.
yeah, absolutely, Jack Frost.
Yeah, I would take Jack Frost too. I haven't seen that movie in forever. I need to go back and watch that. But that was definitely a hit when I was a kid in my house for sure.
Oh yeah, no, that was a staple.
Um, all right, he gets writing credits for like some Mr. Show with Bob and Dave,
Okay, sure.
which is interesting. He gets some directing credits on Tenacious D's show on HBO.
Nice.
I'm trying to find. There's one other movie here I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, okay. Have you ever seen the movie Run Ronnie Run?
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's based on a sketch from Mr. Show with Bob and David. And like David Cross just plays like a white trash guy who like is always on the show Cops. Like getting
Oh my
arrested on
God.
Cops. And does like it always ends in like some crazy freaking scenario where he's like running under tables, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that sounds
I would
absurd.
take Run Ronnie Run, and I would never look back. But he directed Run Ronnie Run was the other movie.
Well, that's quite a filmography right there.
Yeah, and then I mean, like, there's a bunch of stand-up stuff here. I'm trying to scroll through it because then he got like producing credits on like Flight of the Conchords and like a couple of other good HBO shows. Oh, and he directed a few episodes of Arrested Development, 31 episodes of Arrested Development.
It's
Yeah,
he's
so
he's he's at least dependable in the TV realm.
he's a TV guy, exactly. Who made a couple of movies, and then I think after this movie, they were like, "Hey, how about you don't make movies anymore? How's that sound?" Like,
He was probably like, yeah, that's fair.
and
See
I
this
think that's
turn
all I
out?
got. That's all I got for the deep dive.
Yeah, that's quite an eclectic career right there, Troy. So good for you, I guess.
Yeah, go watch Run Ronnie Run, dude. It's so worth it.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
a
put
way better way to spend 90 minutes than this movie was.
I think staring at a wall is a better way to spend 90 minutes and watching this movie. I know you're not going to play the drop, so we'll just go right into our star ratings. The
His
question.
spirit is gone, but his stench remains.
Thank you,
I'll
Mark.
play
Yeah,
that drop. That's the one I'll play.
yeah, I agree with Mark fully right there. The only question remains now, Jim, is will this take the place of our most reviled movie on this list, or
I
will
think
it manage? So
I
let's
think
hear
it
it.
has a real shot.
Yeah, I think it's a real contender. Much like Marlon Brando, this is a real contender.
I'm
All right,
debating between two picks here.
all right, Jim, let's hear your final thoughts and ratings for this pile of trash.
I didn't really enjoy it, and I'm gonna give it 1.5 stars.
1.5. All right, a 1.5 from Jim. Yeah, I absolutely hated this thing too. It was pure torture. I'm gonna give it a 1. But Jim, your 1.5 is good enough to keep this bad boy from landing in the last position. So with a 1.5 from you and a 1 from me, that gives it an overall score of a 2.5, which actually jumps over 3 movies that have done worse than a 2.5. So it will not
They
be
gave three things a 2.
well, so 2 movies got a 2. Kangaroo Jack and Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. And then our most reviled movie on this list, Kung Pao Enter the Fist with a 1.5.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So this movie is just going to stay out of that death spot with a 2.5. So it's going to battle one other 2.5er here, Jim. Do you take Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd, or do you take 8 Crazy Nights?
8 Crazy Nights just for the song at the end when they're doing like the Russian dancing.
I agree. I would take 8 Crazy Nights. over that by
That
a
movie was way more fun to
long shot.
watch than this
Yeah,
movie was.
that movie, Eight Crazy Nights, is at least watchable. Like I got through that movie even though I wasn't a fan of it. I managed, like, it didn't kill me to sit through the entirety of that movie. This movie, every single second was pure torture. So this movie gonna settle in to the number 46 spot, just behind that Eight Crazy Nights at 2.5, and just ahead of Kangaroo Jack with a 2. Um, and I guess that's deserving. I think I'd rather watch Kangaroo Jack a million times than watch Dumb and Dumberer,
Really?
but I
No way,
digress.
dude. No way.
I digress. I don't know. It's all pieces of shit here. It would
Yeah,
all
that's
be.
what I'm saying. I didn't necessarily like either of them, but I would definitely never watch either of them a million times. Like, no way I
they,
would even
they,
get close to that.
they would all be great forms of torture if they ever needed to extract information from me. Uh, because they'd only have to show it once, and I would give up any information anybody needed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Now we didn't branch it in the box office, so we can actually take some guesses here tonight, Jim. Do you have a guess as to what our movie is next week? I can give you a hint in that it is thankfully not a piece of shit. I
I
think it's
know what.
actually no, it's not. I was gonna say it's our first ending to a trilogy, our first third movie in a trilogy, but that's not the case because we've done Jurassic Park 3. But it is a 3. It is the third film in a big franchise.
I think I know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's Terminator 3 if it's around this time. This time.
That it is. It is Terminator 3. You just love to not give the honorifics here, Jim. It's actually called Terminator 3 Rise of the
Rise of the
Machines.
Machines. Yeah.
Let's get it right. Yeah, we'll be diving into the Terminator franchise for the first time. So that's going to be a fun one. Um, I remember liking that movie as a kid, and I couldn't tell you the last time I watched it. I think the only Terminator movie I ever actually go back to and rewatch consistently is Terminator 2. I couldn't even tell you the
Uh,
last time I watched the first Terminator.
I watched the first two a lot, and those are the only two I watched, really. I hadn't seen this one probably since 2003.
Yeah, same here. So gonna be an interesting one to dive into. So make sure you tune in back with us next week when we
Yeah.
dive
The
into the
first,
absolute classic.
by the way, the first one's great, though. You should watch the first Terminator movie.
No, I do love the first one. It's just I'm actually in your book. I'm taking a page out of your book, Jim, where when they've given me the best of something, why would I watch the other ones? I am if I'm gonna watch a Terminator movie, I'm gonna watch Terminator 2.
Yeah, I hear you, but like that's why I wouldn't see Terminator 7. You know what I mean? Like not why I wouldn't go rewatch the original Terminator. That's
No,
I don't know, maybe it's hard to explain.
I do love no, I get what you're saying. I do love the first one. It's just whenever I'm in the mood for Terminator shenanigans, I'm always going right to the second one. And I think most people are probably also in that camp. Do you have a recommendation for the people? What have you been jamming on?
Yeah, this is a movie I texted you about while I was watching it, and I was like, it was unbelievable to me just what it was. Like the movie Ricochet with
Oh,
John
yeah,
Lithgow and Denzel Washington.
yeah.
Must watch, dude.
That's a movie, all right. Yeah, especially all you Denzel fans out there. If you haven't seen some of his lesser known works, you should definitely check those out. Ricochet being one of those. I don't think most people would even know Denzel Washington was in a movie called Ricochet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how popular it is, but man, oh man, it was so funny. Like, John Lithgow has like a barbarian, like gladiator fight in prison, and it's just like the guy from Third Rock from the Sun. Yeah, like that's what he's doing. Okay, like,
John
but
Lithgow's one
yeah,
of those.
Ricochet.
He's one of those actors that can float between comedy and drama very well. Like he always manages to make it believable. Like he's great.
Yeah, I
He
guess
can,
so. I don't know, right? He's hardcore in Ricochet though. Like he's like uber violent, which
well, I
just
feel like
doesn't
that
really
movie
track
also is
with
like
me.
super over the top too. So he
Yes, it's
probably
way
comes
over the
off,
top.
yeah, so he probably comes off a little less menacing because it's so over the top.
Yeah, fair. But what about you? What did you watch this week?
Um Oh God, I'm so unprepared. What was the last thing I watched? I feel like I just watched a movie that I was like, I should talk about this, and now I can't even remember what it was. Oh, that's what I went and saw the Saturday Night Live movie that they made, Saturday Night.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Like
and
it's
it
like
actually
the
was
the
it
lead
was
into the first show, right?
yeah, it's like the 90-minute lead up into the first show airing and all the like shenanigans that went on behind the scenes to get it to air. And it turned out to be a pretty entertaining movie. I went in with no expectations because I didn't even know it was a movie literally until it dropped in theaters. And I
Oh
just knew,
yeah.
yeah. So I was like, oh, I've seen everything
Somebody
else. Like,
doesn't have Peacock.
no, no, no. Or if
I've
I
been
do,
hearing about that movie for a long
if
time.
I do, I'm never on it.
Yeah.
Uh, so I decided to go check that one out because I'd seen everything else, and it actually was pretty entertaining. Everybody that played all the big OG Saturday Night Live members all did a really good job.
Yeah,
Um,
who played Chevy Chase? Was he any good?
I couldn't tell you who the actor was. I'd never seen him in anything before, but he was spot on. And Dylan O'Brien played Dan Aykroyd, which on paper sounds like what, but he crushes it. He sounds exactly like him, and his
That's wild.
mannerisms. So they all nailed that aspect.
Oh man,
So
that's
it
such an
was
Oscar bait movie.
yeah, that movie's not touching any Oscars. You out of your mind?
I know, but it's like it just feels like that's like kind of the lane it's in. Like they're just like, hey, check it out. Here's all these real people who existed.
Yeah, right. Like I'm playing a real guy. But yeah,
I mean, dude, they nominated Bohemian Rhapsody for 7 Oscars.
yeah,
Like,
that's true.
don't
Yeah,
even tell me, man. Saturday
but they
Night has a
were
chance.
they were fucking obsessed with that movie for zero reason.
Yeah, it got best editing. You remember that scene when they meet Mike Myers and then
And it
like
cuts like
there's like
17 times.
150 cuts in
Yeah,
like a 45-second scene?
just that
It's so
fucking
jarring.
fucking movie. But yeah, so that's it's not the greatest movie, but it's a good way to spend 90 minutes, especially at the theater if you've seen everything else. So that's a solid one to check out. I had fun with
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's your recommendations for the week, people. Go see Saturday Night and pop in a new Denzel one that you've missed out on because Ricochet surely will keep you entertained way more than the piece of shit we watched tonight will. And make sure you're here with us next week when we dive into Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. And as always, we'll see you at the movies.